G'day guys, welcome to Acts of God's first video clip. Today I would like to share a bit on the temple. If you look at the temple, it's very important to understand so that you can unlock many of the secrets of the Bible. One of the questions we'll be looking at today is, why do people disagree about the word? Why are there's so many different translations and ways of seeing the same scripture differently? Everything that we will be doing and that I will be teaching, we will be going through the temple, taking it through the temple to see whether it fits in there, or whether it's truth or not. Temple is a picture of Christ, and in the long run the temple is a picture of you. Knowing the temple will greatly increase your understanding of the Bible. As we look at the temple, you'll have to go do your own studies. I'm going to share stuff, and you will have to go find out if it's true or not. Read your Bible. Don't believe what anyone tells you, even if it's your pastor, any great man of God. Go and study for yourself. Find out what the Word is saying to you. They are just there to guide you. So when we look at the temple, we find an outer court, an inner court, and the most holy place. Once you start studying this, you will see that the outer court speaks of the natural, or the flesh, or the carnal mind of man, due to certain elements in the outer court. When you move to the inner court, you will find it speaks of mixture. There was elements of natural light and elements of God-given light, which shows something of man and something of God. When we move to the most holy place, it is purely spirit. The place where we are one with God, only the Spirit of God exists. The only light in there is the Shekinah glory of God, the light of God that illuminates the room. Now, when studying the Bible, we have found that people like to say, whatever I read there must be the truth. I read in the natural, that makes sense to me, that's what I believe. Now the problem with that is, God is Spirit, the Bible is inspired by the Spirit, and every revelation you receive is via the Spirit. How then can we now read a book and try and understand it in the natural? It clearly says the natural cannot comprehend or understand the things of the Spirit, and the natural is in opposition to the Spirit. So when looking at the temple, the first dimension speaks of the natural. When studying the Word, you will read a story about Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, and see the most basic story there. That is the natural. The way it's written, you see the basic story and you understand it from that viewpoint. That is the most basic way of seeing it, and that is what we say is the natural way of understanding it. Now when you move to the next dimension, to a place where we call it mixture, where you have some revelation from the Spirit, but you also have some understanding from the natural. So you will have a person that understands the verse as it says there. He will understand it in the natural, but he will also see elements of the spiritual within that verse. So when someone from an understanding of purely natural speaks to someone from a mixture perception, they will greatly differ on what they see in the same scripture. Even in terms of people in one dimension, let's say mixture, you will find one guy will see certain elements of the Spirit, another guy will see other elements of the Spirit, and they will argue because they see different things, because of the amount of the natural that is affecting the way they see the Spirit thing. Now, the purpose of the cross was to tear the veil so that we can be seated in the most holy place. Now God says He has placed us, seated us in heavenly places in the most holy place. We now have to get to a place where we can understand the scriptures out of spirit. No more natural and no more mixture. A lot of the churches are starting to understand. They see more of the spirit, but they still want to drag a lot of the natural with them into the kingdom. And the Bible says nothing of the natural will inherit the kingdom. So in our following teaching, what we'll be doing is using some of the stories in the Bible and showing that the Bible explains that it's not purely natural and you cannot just understand it like that. From there we will advance to a place where I can show you mixture, and from there to a place where I will show you purely spirit. All three out of one story. When we look at the temple again, the outer court speaks of the natural, as we've said. The inner court speaks of the church, and the most holy place speaks of you, the individual, as the temple. We'll be going through all of this over and over again till you get a better understanding, but for the moment, if you can just see the fact that people are seeing the Bible with an element of mixture, their fleshly way of seeing things, the way they were brought up, the way they were taught. You were brought up in a certain church, I was brought up in another church, that guy was brought up outside of church. So there were things influencing our natural man. Then we received this spirit word, and we made this mixture, trying to understand the natural or the spiritual from a natural perspective. When you take the temple once again out of a human perspective, you will find that the outer court speaks of my carnal mind. The inner court speaks of my soul dimension. And the most holy place speaks of my spirit man, the Christ man. Okay. Now what is happening? I'm getting a message, and my carnal nature is taking this spiritual message and trying to make sense of it. That's where the soul dimension, that's why we call it mixture, is taking both, trying to see how I can fit this in to make sense. As we said before, the spirit man or the natural man cannot understand the things of the spirit. That's why we're always trying to make sense of things that were not really supposed to make sense, but to be believed. The moment you start stripping away more and more of the flesh, or the natural man's way of thinking, the more you will see the spirit way. The sons of God are led by the Spirit. Therefore you will be seeing the way God thinks, the way God acts, and why he does things the way he does. For the moment we hardly understand anything because our carnal minds cannot comprehend these things. If you have any questions on this specific topic, I will try and put in the commentary some notes concerning all the same things. If you have questions on this or questions on any other topic, please write to me and let us make a video of it. And any other questions, let us fit it or pass it through the temple and see where the problem lies, where it fits in. Just for a last thing to remember, I will repeat it next time. The same thing with outer court, inner court, most holy place. The tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. You will find the tree of knowledge of good and evil in the outer court and the tree of life in the most holy place, and a mixture in the middle. You will find both. The same thing happens with law and grace. The knowledge of good and evil is a picture of the law, so you will find the law in the outer court. You will find grace in the most holy place, and in the church dimension, or the dimension of mixture, you will find law and grace, trying to balance this thing of law and grace. On the one side, people saying grace, 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 and other people saying law, law, and some people trying to balance this thing, not quite understanding how you get to this place of pure grace and no law. So let us work it from here. Any comments or questions will be much appreciated. Thank you very much.